Amazing. Then I think we can go. Welcome everyone to this super overcrowded webinar. It's also a very exciting topic today with Robert Heineke, where we will talk about how to turn your personal
Recording in
brands
progress.
into predictable LinkedIn funnels. And especially with this wonderful success story, it's definitely a crazy success story from Robert, how he scaled his personal brand from 0 to 5 million in revenue, and how he literally cracked the LinkedIn code and all the hacks that he has learned along the way. He will show and share with you in a minute. And I'm super excited just to give you a quick overview of what will happen in the next hour. We'll first give you a little bit of an intro and welcome in the beginning. And please, everyone who joins, mute yourself because we cannot otherwise hear each other so well. Thank you so much. Then we will have a little introduction from Robert and a very great explanation and breakdown of how you can all build your LinkedIn sales funnels with some great, also actionable examples. Then we'll jump into a little fireside chat. And of course, there will be enough time for your questions and Q&A. So please, if you have any questions in the meantime, just put them into the chat and I will try to take care of all of them after the fireside chat. Amazing. So I think we can get going. And before we start and before Robert will take over, I will just say that you know who am I? I'm the co-founder and CMO of Scribe. I've been a content creator since 12 years and have built and scaled their first startup to 40K users, actually by leveraging personal branding. And that's how I got into this topic and how I got so obsessed and super excited about it, which then led me to co-found Scribe with my two amazing co-founders. And also kind of since we started Scribe in September, we try to prove the case how personal branding works ourselves. And because we believe and breathe, and please mute yourself, guys. Thank you so much. What we breathe and believe with Scribe is the fact that people trust people, not brands. And we know that because people tell great stories. And I think everyone in here had this one moment when you just couldn't resist listening and listening to a great story that hooked you so much that you also wanted to then take the next action, maybe buy a product or go to a store. And we did that, for example, by letting our ambassadors tell the story about Scribe, where we could leverage over 5 million combined impressions with just one campaign. You can see one familiar face, Robert, already here, and he will share how he uses Scribe as well. So this is how personal branding just was one proven success case for us. But of course, we know all of that is super hard, and it's very hard to create those posts that really reach the right people and reach your target audience. That's why we said at Scribe, we want to make content creation as easy as talking to a friend. And for everyone who is not a Scribe user yet, just a quick overview of what Scribe is. You will get a better understanding in a second. Scribe is basically your personal ghostwriter. It's like a content workspace that generates posts that are based on your tone of voice and on your target audience, but also loved by the algorithm. And we do that by analyzing millions and thousands of posts in your niche. We're connected to your LinkedIn account and then help you with your style, with your strategy, and then actually generate posts for you in seconds. How this all will work, we will see that in a second, but just to give you an overview of what Scribe is, of what our background is, and without a further ado, I would give it over to you, Robert.
Let's get this party started, huh? Yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you for the introduction, Carmen. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff that we learned in the past 5 years. But the first question that I'm really curious about, who of you is already using Scribe? Maybe put it in the chat to get a feeling how much I should talk about Scribe today. Really, I don't know. It's been a while. I don't know, 6 or 7 months, I think, one of my employees said, hey, you should check out Scribe. And I think even my wife was a little bit earlier. She said, there is a new software, Robert, you should have a look at it. And since then, I really fall in love with it. And it looks like most of you guys already use it. Perfect. So we talk about today something that we learned along the way. Something that I'm really like curious about, how to turn like your LinkedIn content and your personal brand to real like revenue and to new business, because this was always a challenge that we had, that we posted a lot of content, but the main question was like, how do we turn it really into paying clients? And I have one goodie. When you still stay until the end, you're going to get our new algorithm checklist, because the first thing that I will teach you is that everything really starts with like that you reach your audience. I think this was also one of the main factors why we decided to work with Scribe, because it really helps to write LinkedIn posts that get a lot of impressions. And we put some hacks in there. So if you want to have this one, you should stay till the end. So what I want to show you today are a couple of things. First thing is what we have learned, and especially in the last few weeks, I think it changed a lot, like the algorithm. Everybody is struggling a little bit, but I will show you what we have learned, what works very well. I will show you how to build a lead magnet. I don't know if everyone is familiar with the concept, but I will show you how to do that and which role it plays. I will show you something really cool, how you build a sales funnel on LinkedIn. This is something that we really came up along the way. And this is something that helped us a lot to turn really content into booked appointments and into clients. And I will show you how to get leads into your sales funnel. This is something Carmen already showed in the screenshot. There is some cool stuff going on LinkedIn, and I will show you how this works. And my hope is that someday your calendar looks like this. So people book appointments and you really post like content on LinkedIn, and you know this turns into appointments. So a lot of stuff I'm going to show you today. Something that I always thrived for was, I don't know if you're familiar with ClickFunnels, is one of the funnel building tools in the online marketing space. And if a sales funnel hits 1 million, you get this cool gold medal award music stuff looking like thing. And I always wanted to reach this point, and we hit it like 3 times already. So we've come a long way, and I really never dreamed of that we achieved that. And I'm going to show you how we did it. And the cool thing is, most of the people always sometimes say, yeah, Robert, you have it quite easy because you talk about LinkedIn. Yeah, so that's a little bit easier for you. But we have like case studies in all the big industries already. And we have a lot of clients that are way more successful than we are. And this is something that I'm really happy about. So who is talking here? My name is Robert, and I've been working for 5 years with founders and their teams to build LinkedIn as a lead channel. I think we have built one of the largest German LinkedIn academies, the Social Leads Academy, where we teach people how to implement the stuff that I'm going to teach you today. We also spent a lot of money in LinkedIn and Meta ads. And if you're curious to learn more about me and my stuff, just check out my YouTube or go to leadersmedia.de. And I hope that my English is well okay. It's been a while that I've talked, in English. So last point before we get started, I do it with a little team from Hamburg. And the stuff that I'm going to show you, we help like founders and their team to implement it like in a couple of weeks and months to get really like leads and clients on LinkedIn. First thing, to maybe put it a little bit into perspective, as a founder, I always had the big goal to grow my company only through inbound leads. And maybe this is something you're also familiar with. So I never wanted to chase clients. I wanted to attract them. And I think this is also one of the big motivations why most of the people start with content, that you really have the hope that someday you attract the right people and you don't have to do any cold calling or cold outreach. I don't know, sending hundreds of messages. And really, you can trust me, I tried really everything in the past like 10 years. I did Xing, I did Facebook, what was it, like groups, and I posted on Facebook every day. I ran some campaigns on Facebook ads. I have a podcast for a couple of years now, did daily Instagram stories and stuff like that, had our own YouTube channel. And really like the typical ones, I also tried for the acquisition of new clients, I was like, I don't know who read the book, Never Eat Lunch Alone. I took it a little bit too serious. So I went out like every day to get lunch with people in Hamburg. So I gained like, I don't know, 10 kilos in this time. And it didn't really work out to get new clients. I did like keynotes, go to events, did some cold calling and referrals. And the most thing that always annoyed me was that I never could have said what really worked and what's not working. So there were some weeks where it went very well, and other weeks or months even nothing happened. And that was really frustrating. And at some point I was really like, I really have to change something. And finally, I wanted to really find more predictability and above all, like more security in the acquisition. That was something I really finally wanted. I don't want to like have the craziest growth. I wanted to just have more growth. Carmen, kannst du vielleicht Lars noch muten? Perfekt.
Yeah.
And then I signed up for LinkedIn and I had high hopes because it was like another social media platform. And I was like, everything's going to be different. A friend of mine was like, LinkedIn, this is the shit, Robert, you got to do it. And so I signed up. I did like a company page since then. And I was like, okay, company page, this is something I need. We are like the Leaders Media company. I invited like my team, our clients at this point, and some of my friends. And after like a couple of days, this turned out to be a dead end really, because I didn't have any followers. I didn't have any reach. And I was like, I don't want to pay money for ads to get like followers on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, this is LinkedIn. And at that point, I was like, maybe LinkedIn is another platform you don't really need. And I almost gave up on it. But there was some point or some situation that I really remember until this day. And until this day, I always do this check with clients of ours that I just went over to the LinkedIn search where you can search for people, for example, for Robert and my name, but you can also search for positions. And this was something really that was really eye-opening for me, that I was founding like CEOs in Hamburg. And I remember this moment and I was like, I always try to get these people on podcast, on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, on Facebook, and I never found them. And now I had like the complete list of people that I always tried to get in one list, and I could invite them. And I was like, oh, that's going to be fun. And then the next part was, I realized that I could reach not just the CEOs and founders in Hamburg, but in whole Germany. And this was something that I realized, okay, LinkedIn could be something that could be interesting for us. But the only problem was that, of course, I could only connect with our target group with my personal profile. So the company page wasn't really interesting. It was something that I had to do with my personal profile, but I was invested. So what did I do? The first thing that I did was like optimizing my LinkedIn profile, because this is something that I learned really early, that the LinkedIn profile is more or less like your website now. People should understand in a couple of minutes what you are doing. I think this is something everybody of you is familiar. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, it was something really new. And then I started connecting with my target audience. And I remember this because a friend of mine said, Robert, you can't like add random people or people that you don't know on LinkedIn. And I was like, he has a point. I never added a random people that I don't know on LinkedIn. But then I came across a keynote of the CEO of LinkedIn, and he said, LinkedIn wants to be like the biggest platform for acquisition for companies. And for sure, you can add people that you don't know. And I was like, okay, if I have the blessing of the CEO of LinkedIn, I can add people that I don't know. And I really added like the first 20 CEOs in Hamburg, put down the laptop, and I was like, hopefully there are not going to be so many angry messages. But the next day, really, I had some nice feedback. Most of them accepted me, and I was like, nice, I can add just my target audience. And since then, I really always added each week new people from my target audience. And then there was really like a dark chapter, because I realized we are into this business to business space, and I knew that content is really important. And that was the time before Scribe. Each post took like, I don't know, an hour or something. It took me a very long time. And I really started posting on a gut feeling. I didn't have like a content strategy or something. I just looked around the office and I was like, maybe I can talk about yeah, maybe my hairstyle here in when I was 17 years old, stuff like that. I started talking about that. And then until some point, I was like, I'm gonna go all in and post really like daily for 3 months in the hope that I'm getting leads and customers. And this is something really a lot of people like, I don't know, in the LinkedIn guru space, I think a lot of people tell you just start posting and end of the road in 6 or in 12 months, people are just coming, just post. Yeah. And Robert did it. And what happened? Nothing. Yeah. I think 2000 impressions at this point was like almost my best post. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's not very good. Then I didn't get really any likes or like engagement or comments under my post. I think my wife and my team just liked my posts and really like zero leads or clients. And that was really disappointing, especially because it took so much time to write all these posts and craft them and really nothing happened. So I did this experiment for you. That's not the solution. And at this point, I was like, okay, I tested a lot of content. That doesn't work. I really have to change something. And then I realized that I maybe should think about a content strategy. And I really should think about like getting more reach because I saw more and more people with like, I don't know, posts with 100 likes, with like hundreds of comments. And I was like, maybe I really have to look into this algorithm thing everybody talks about and see what I can do about it. And then I set up myself a challenge, and this is really a challenge I can recommend like everyone who's here today, because I said I want to break 100,000 impressions in 90 days. And that was so far beyond the point where I was at this point. And I will show you where you can find this number. You can find it on your LinkedIn profile. If you scroll down and if you click there a button, you can see your last 90 days, or you check in your analytics in Scribe and you can see how much impressions you had. And at this point, to be honest, I had like 11,000 impressions. That's it. Yeah. And I was really like, I really gotta change something to get my challenge going. So what did we do? The first thing, and this is something maybe some of you could think about, I started really like ordering all copywriting and storytelling books that are available on Amazon because I realized content is copywriting and storytelling and nothing else. And then everybody in my team got like 2 or 3 books. We summarized them, got the best tips. And I remember when I was reading Copywriting Secrets, the one in the middle, I was reading just 20 or 30 pages and I was like, okay, I know why my content sucks because I don't know shit about copywriting. And that was really the first lesson that I realized, okay, it's something that you have to learn. And it was really a little bit naive of myself to say, I just post stuff and it's going to get reach. Because at the end of the day, it's a skill like every other skill. You just have to learn it. And then we started really like to analyze, not on the level that you guys on Scribe that are doing, but we just started to experiment with our content because there were always these rumors you have to do a long post, short post, personal post, I don't know what, quotes and videos. And we were like really doing an Excel and we put all these different ideas of content into this Excel and started posting them on different accounts from our clients and from us and just try to realize what is working and what's not. And the next part was really interesting because we realized there were like 4 different areas of content that we identified. The first one is like expert content, where you can show your expertise, but you don't get really much like impressions or reach because people are not too curious about your expert stuff. Then viral content is really interesting because you get, in best case, you get more followers, but you don't get most of the time lots of leads about it because you talk about way broader topics. Then we had like social content that works in terms of trust and engagement really good. And this is something I will talk a little bit further. And we started really early to talk about like promotion content because at some point we had to talk about our offers and what we were doing. Otherwise, we were like, how can we convert the people when we don't talk about our offers? And then we came up with this idea, and I remember with Ann-Christine from my team, I was like, what if our content strategy generates a lot of reach? Everyone understands what we do, and it also leads to measurable leads and customers. And this is something really a concept and an idea we came up with. And we're like, what if we can put it all together into one concept? And at this point, and I'm really excited for you because you're one of the first guys to get our new content strategy for 2025. And it's also translated into the categories for Scribe at this point. Thank you, Carmen. Because our idea was really like, we want to get a lot of reach because you can't lose anything if you get a lot of reach in your client base. But we also want to make sure that you get some customers. And the first idea or category was the idea of thought leader content. And that's the educational content in Scribe. We wanted to demonstrate our thought leadership, and we wanted to demonstrate our expertise. I think that's the term that's missing there. And that's the part we always tried. And you always see some examples of like content format that you can use. The second part is like growth content. And this is really new because we realized in the last couple of weeks, there are some like topics and some, like mediums, for example, videos, when you do them right, they work really well. So we tried to came up with this concept to get as many contacts and to get more followers with growth content. And the third category was really like social content. We don't try to, I don't know, go viral with this content, but people get, for example, a feeling for your personality. And it's really funny. Carmen was as well as at our event in Hamburg, and AC asked a question like, who has a dog of our client base? And I think there were like 25 people in this room, and all the people that attended our mastermind event said that they have a dog. And it was really funny to see that there is some kind of correlation that the people that we are working with have all a dog. And this is something that, for example, you can build a lot of trust, and you can't be like compared to your competitors if you show your personality. It's really something that I enjoy a lot because we attract more of the people that are like me or like our team by showing our personality through social content. And the last part was really like promotion content that we said once in a while, we do some stuff to get the people into like webinars, into lead magnets, or into our events. And at this point, that was really an idea. Yeah, we put it on a white paper and started trying it. And that was really like a content plan that we thought we will test out. We will do on Monday like growth content. On Wednesday, we will do thought leader content. On Friday, we do social content. And I will talk to you later how we got the promotion content integrated. And after a few weeks, we couldn't believe our eyes because it worked really, really well. The first thing was that most of the growth content really hit like 10,000 or more impressions. And this is something we always aimed for. And this is something we as Leaders Media talk about or consider as a viral post, that you get more than 10,000 impressions. The second one was that we had in like regular time slots, we always had a post like this. And I was like, that was the reach that I set myself as a goal for 90 days. And some of the posts almost hit like 100,000 impressions. And that was really cool to see that we had a feeling for the algorithm, really what is working and what's not working. And I just didn't hit like 100,000 views. I think now it's almost 1.5 million impressions with our content. And I'm really glad to see that, because we really made it work, that we get a lot of impression in our target group, but also drive a lot of traffic into our sales funnels. And I will show you that in a minute, why it's so important. But the nice thing that really happened if you get your content out there and it gets a lot of impressions is that people start messaging you. I remember Benjamin was like, I get 2 leads a month from LinkedIn and I want to go to 10. Can you help me with that? And he was really like asking if we can work together. Then Marcus, another guy, was like, do you have time to talk about how we can work together? And it got more and more. But the first thing I really want to address here is that reach is really important. And this is also one of the main reasons why we started working with Scribe, because they have a big focus on this topic. Because there are sometimes people out there that are saying, hey, reach is not that important. Yeah, that's fair. But most of the time, there are people that don't get a lot of reach that are saying that. And you don't really have something to lose when you reach a lot of people in your target audience. Does that make sense? Maybe a short yes in the chat if that makes sense. I hope that everybody that's here today gets out with a challenge with a 100K in 90 days. That's really a good challenge. And this is something I would consider a reach that you can work really well with and get the people into your sales funnel. Nice. Sönke says, strike, Matt, very clear, perfect. So feel free to take a screenshot. I think for the limited time of the recording, we're gonna get, you can get the slides and can work on that as your own. When you already want to have this, put it, make a screenshot, put it somewhere, because this is something, the categories we are helping our clients with to make that work. Next one is, that was really a cool feeling, because at some point I was really like, okay, we just need more reach. We just need more people to get the impressions up. And we already had the first like inbound leads, but it was still too much work for to view leads. And this is something you really have to realize, because at this point I came across a really cool formula, and I wish I would found it a little bit earlier, because it says you have reach times conversion equals leads and clients. And this is something that really helped me, because most of the time LinkedIn content just gives you attention and reach in your target audience. But I don't know how it's for you, but I never found like a LinkedIn post and I was like, oh my God, now I have to buy something. Maybe for a tool like Scribe, it could work. But if you do like offers that are beyond like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and in the B2B space, we have a lot of clients that do projects up to, I don't know, 30 or 50,000. You don't do a LinkedIn post and people buy instantly. And I was like, okay, there is something missing. And then I came across this, or most of the time, most people would tell you now, just shoot hundreds of messages into the people that are already listening to your content. And some will stick, some people will book a call, and some of them also will get clients. I don't know how about you, but I never really wanted to do it. I think a friend of mine just said, I think, Robert, you're doing like LinkedIn the lazy way. And I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm not the guy that, I don't know, sends hundreds of messages every week, because also I wanted to attract the customers who are interested in my offer and not send messages. And at that point, I was really thinking about like, how can I convert now all the eyeballs and all the attention of my content into leads and customers? And then I came across, I don't know, I think everybody of you is familiar with HubSpot, like the software. And one of the guys of them, they wrote a book about how they rose so fast with HubSpot, I think from 0 to 100 million in a couple of years. And he said that lead magnets is one of their core strategies. And a lead magnet is nothing else like a white paper, a report, or a tool. And in return, you get, for example, the email rate, or you get, for example, the email address, or you get the name. And for example, here you can see like the library of HubSpot, and you can go there now, downloaded it, and they really have a cool. Yes, yeah. And that was the moment where I realized we need a lead magnet too. So when it worked for HubSpot, I was like, okay, we got to test it out. And then I was like with AC, what can we do? And after a short brainstorming, we came up with a perfect idea. And this is something you're going to get today. We came up with the idea that we just put into a document our best tips for reach, for likes, for comments, and give it all for free away. For a moment, we really were a little bit afraid that we lose all of our clients because we put all our advice into one document. But on the other hand, we were like, okay, and if people can do all of our work with one document, yeah, we should learn a little bit more. And we put it into this algorithm checklist. So it was the idea, we gave out this document for free and see what's going to happen. But then was something that was really missing, because most of the people, they do like a lead magnet, they build something cool. But the problem is, if you don't have a sales funnel, and this is the next part, people will download it and then they will go away. And now I will show you something really cool that we came up with, that we use a sales funnel to convert people into like appointments. So the idea is that people find us on LinkedIn, they go to a landing page where they can download, for example, our checklist. And on this page, where usually someone just, I don't know, says, check your inbox, we were like looking at how HubSpot does it. And HubSpot posts there a good like pitch to get people onto a phone call, like on the first, like, what is it, strategy session, for example. And then you have inbound leads, and in best case, you have some new. And that was again, like just an idea. It could work and couldn't work. Then we built a landing page for the registration. I will tell you later which tool we are not using, that we are really happy for that. Then I built a download page with a short video of myself where I was pitching why people should book a call with us. And then I implemented our calendar tool and we were ready to go. And now I just had to send people into the sales funnel. This was something I really was looking forward to, and it took me some time to figure it out, but I started to think about these promotion content on LinkedIn. And over time, I got really more and more, over time, I got better and better in promoting lead magnets on LinkedIn. And you see here, there were a lot of reactions, and they almost all of them went viral because I knew how to write them. And the interesting part was that we started to promote it not just on LinkedIn. We put it into our LinkedIn profile. I put it on our website. I put it on our newsletter stuff. I put it like everywhere. And then it was really funny to see, because the post went viral. We had like in 30 days, I think that was in October. I think this year it almost looks the same. We had like 500 downloads almost completely organically. So we didn't spend anything on ads. And in this time, we had like 100 booked appointments. And at this point, we were like, I don't know, 3 people doing sales, and our calendar was completely booked with like people who wanted to talk to us about like working together, and it was crazy times. At this point, we really did more and more qualification of people that we are really talking to. But that was really nice to see how this funnel worked at the end. And our calendar, yeah, and this time really looked like this. And it was really cool to see how good it works. So when I look back over the last like 12 months, LinkedIn has become our leading lead channel. We generate over 80% through LinkedIn. What is really cool is that you build like a big CRM system for yourself with the people who you want to work with. We get a lot of people that really want to know how they can work with us, and we don't have to convince any people that they should work with us. They're coming through these sales funnels to us and ask for an appointment, and at the end work with us. And this exact funnel was the one that also one of them cracked the 1 million. And this is really cool to see that this is not just working for us, but also for our clients. The big thing that I really want to stress here, and I hope this is a big giveaway for you also, that you always have to think in reach and in conversion. For example, you can also say that you do a webinar once a month, for example, as conversion, or there are people that are sending messages for conversion, but you really have to think about doing a conversion part, but because content standalone is really tricky to get it converted. And the sales funnel, I think this is for the lazy people out there who wants to make their life a little bit easier. And the cool part is it works also for our clients. I have brought some cool case studies. For example, we helped him to get, I don't know, he went to over 1 million impressions in 90 days. He's also working with the Scribe, right? Good guy. Yeah. Daniel, for example, he's an executive coach. We also launched, nowadays, a lead magnet with this guy. Anna Ease, for example, became a top voice working with us together. And we have so many more examples. And it's really, really cool to see what happens if you got the sales funnel and the content dialed in and you get booked appointments with that. Time for the fireside chat. I hope that worked. And
Amazing.
my English wasn't too bad. Yeah.
It was fantastic, and it is fantastic. All right. I already got some questions from the audience. Just start this again. All right, but before we go into the questions from the audience, we learned so much. First of all, thank you so much for sharing all your insights and all the detailed tips. What I would love to learn is before we go more into the LinkedIn details and questions, what was your initial motivation to start Leaders Media, and why do you see this potential in social selling in general?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that. I started working with some guys on my YouTube channel, and they were like, Robert, so what's your origin story? And I was like, oh, it's messed up. I don't know how to put it in words. And I just, a couple of days ago, I really tried to put it together. So I was typical in consulting. I did my master's in business administration, worked then a consulting job. And after 2.5 years, I was like, I don't want to do that in 10 years anymore. That's way too much stress and don't do it. So I was looking in my consulting job. I was always looking to get a way out. And I was really sure that I want to be like an entrepreneur. And then I came across a channel on YouTube in the States who was like summarizing books and was animating it. So, like, for example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, how to influence people, stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I want to bring that to Germany. And then I started this YouTube channel with a partner of mine, and we became really big, like, I don't know, 50,000 YouTube subscribers or something. But I realized really fast that you can't make any money with that channel. So I said to myself, I'm gonna have to do something else. But at this point, I started a podcast. I started to do Instagram because it was that time where Gary Vaynerchuk was like, whatever you do, just document it on every platform. And I was like, okay, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna do it. But I really, in this time, I really realized that I have a lot of passion for content marketing. And then some of my friends that were also founders were like, okay, Robert, what you're doing looks really interesting. Can you help me with like Instagram
Mhm.
content? Can you help me with the podcast? Can you help me with like, I don't know, the YouTube channel and stuff like that? And that was really like the beginning of Leaders Media, that I started like doing marketing consulting. And I think 2.5 years in, that was the point where I came across LinkedIn, and I was like, that feels really like home, because the platforms like Instagram and Facebook always felt like not like very business.
Mhm.
And LinkedIn was the place where I was like, okay, I want to go here all in.
And then you were still a hustler and you still did it.
Still a hustler, still documenting. Yeah.
And also for everyone here, I can really recommend Robert's YouTube channel. It's mostly in German, but it has some great, valuable stuff on there. So please go follow and subscribe. So you just mentioned other platforms, and I also
Yeah.
had one question in the chat, like how do you treat other platforms currently, like besides YouTube, like X, TikTok, Instagram?
Yeah.
I know you're on there, like,
Yeah.
but how do you treat them?
This is something I really, yeah, I can't stress enough, because I think it was like 2 years into LinkedIn, we were sold in this concept, just repurpose your content on every platform. It's gonna bring something. And at some point I was really like, everything like suffered, especially like our LinkedIn content was like mediocre, YouTube was mediocre, podcast was mediocre, and I was like, okay guys, we really have to change something. And at this point I was like, we're gonna cut everything, and we're just gonna go all in 2 or 3 years, just LinkedIn. And this is something really that I would always advise people: start with one platform that you're really familiar with. And I think the big advantage on LinkedIn is that you really can find your target audience there, and you can just add them. Yeah. This is on all the other socials not possible. And then, I don't know, 2 years later, I was like, I don't know who knows Wim Hof, the guy with the ice
Mhm.
bathing and stuff like that. My wife recommended me this guy, and was like, have a look at him. I saw like 2 documentaries on YouTube of this guy, and then I bought like 2 tickets for $5,000. And I was like, okay, that is the shortest like customer journey to 5K that I ever did on myself. And I was like, I want to do that too. And then I realized, okay,
I see.
YouTube should be a platform that's like
Mhm.
I like an add-on. I am still see like LinkedIn as my core platform, but for like long form content, I'm trying to get the people to YouTube or to podcast, and podcast is the YouTube video as an audio. And
Mhm.
the other ones like Instagram, for example, I do for fun because I have some friends there. But I can really give everybody this advice. You don't think that it takes a lot of time doing some stuff on other platforms, but it takes a lot of like mental load. And I
Mhm.
was always say, just go all in on LinkedIn, do there a great job. If you have there a following and reach, and then you can get the people to your YouTube channel or to your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Like double down on one thing, and then also if you feel like you're the top LinkedIn top voice with thousands and hundred thousands of followers, then you can maybe consider to also go on other platforms. But I think it just takes so much time.
Yes.
But you also just mentioned like that you have YouTube for your long form content and also for videos, and you've also integrated more video clips now into LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And I know that a lot of people here, also some already asked it in chat, are really like asking themselves like what is happening with video content now. Video is more in your feed, sometimes less.
Yeah.
What is your take on video and how should people now use it?
Don't take my advice for the final advice on it. I don't know. Ann-Christine from my team, she was really like into video from day one, and she really invested a lot of like into script writing, finding a studio, and doing really good like videos. And she went like viral almost every week. And I was like, I'm not sure yet. I'm not invested into videos. And then one of our guys was like, yeah, Robert, you have to do it. And I did it. And I did it really like once a week, at least as a challenge, also for me to get a little bit familiar with this thing. The first thing really that you realize is that it takes a lot of courage for you to do like videos, and you think that it gets rewarded for doing that, but no one cares. As long as you don't say something really smart in 1 or 2 minutes, you don't get more reach from doing videos. So I would recommend really almost all people do like, I don't know, carousels or do text and image and get to 100,000 in 90 days. And when you really crack that code, then I would then I would think about like doing videos, because it's way more complicated. It's way more like volatile. And I wouldn't say that I was really happy when I heard that the video feed was removed from the app, but I was a little bit happy about it, because I don't know if everybody like had this time like 2 years ago, LinkedIn tried like LinkedIn stories, like
Mhm.
Instagram stories, and I think it was also like 2 or 3 months. They tested it, didn't work, and it was gone again. And I was like, hopefully they remove the video feed again. And it was gone like a week ago. And I was like, I think it was a test. It was an experiment. It didn't work out and gone. So for all the guys that are not super excited about videos, I think you can do all the other content without doing video.
Yeah, and if you still want to try, maybe it works for you, you can, of course.
Do it as a personal challenge, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just take some questions already from the audience and we'll twist it a little bit. Like there was one question, I think it's mainly I will summarize it. People
Yeah.
here who I think are very new, like are wondering how they reach their target audience best and if LinkedIn is really their platform. For example, one guy said like if he's like more in the IT consulting service, or
Mhm.
also if you have not like a digital service but more machinery. Like what is your take on being active on LinkedIn in different industries and just getting started?
Yeah, something that helps me a lot. Maybe I can share my desktop for that.
Please.
I think this is a little bit easier to show that, because when we talk to like prospects, people that want to work with us, the first thing that I really check is that I go on to, let me have a look, go onto my LinkedIn, and I always think about who's the person I really want to reach. And then you really can type in, I don't know, a couple minutes ago or before this call, I had a guy who was trying to, what is it, like pharmacist or something. He
Mhm.
wanted to try to, reach these guys. And I was like, what? I don't know if they are like active on LinkedIn. And then I tap on this thing and I was like, let's see how many people are there in Germany. And then we had like 20,000 of these guys on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, 20,000, this is something I really can work with. And for example, if you are in IT, I don't know what is a CIO, for example. I don't know if people call themselves in Germany like that. But for example, I would like, oh, okay, there are like 11,000 and maybe I start in Hamburg. Let's see how many people are in Hamburg. And for example, you can say like, or IT Leiter is like the German term. And then you have like 4,400 people just in Hamburg of your target audience. And then I'm always like, okay, I have something to do for the next weeks or months. And this is always
Great
my
tip.
entry point, yeah, for LinkedIn.
Great tip. Maybe you can leave your screen shared for a second, because of
Sure.
course I would love to see how you went from having a very annoying content creation process. Now, like
Yeah.
how do you do it? Also, I think it's very interesting for people who already use Scribe, but now also seeing your team collaboration process in it.
Yes.
Do you want to
Let me
share?
log in into my Scribe account and then I will show you how we do it, because this really helps a lot. So the first thing when we talk about like content creation, and that was so last year, because I don't know, I don't know what the motivation was, but I really checked in with one of my employees, Malte, like once a week, and we were like thinking about the content for next week. And it was so stressful. And at some point, really like Ann-Christine from my team, she was like doing it once a month and all the content was done. And I was like, okay, Malte, we really have to change it. And since this year, we just do it like once a month and it's so peaceful now. And I'm going to share, yeah, let's see how much work Malte already did in my calendar. So what we do most of the time is in this one session per month, that we really think about, like you see it, where are we? A little bit, and we had this week. Yeah, it's perfect. For example, for this month, we always do like notes on every day. So we really think about this month, what are we going to do? For example, on Mondays, we do like growth content. For example, here I did a lead magnet. Here I'm going to do a lead magnet. Here we're trying something new. On Tuesdays, we always do YouTube videos, like a snippet on my YouTube video. Here, for example, we always give a LinkedIn quick tip. Here is always a slideshow or a video. And on Fridays, we always do social content. And it helps so much just taking these notes on every day. And then we always work into this in these notes. I have the good, yeah, maybe advantage that Malte, the copywriter of my team, he really needs just, I don't know, 4 keywords to write a good post about it. But on the other hand, I don't know, I had a guy or a girl before, we always took away more bullet points for each post, and then they use like the Scribe editor to turn it into content. And
Could
really, like on Fridays, we have a deadline and he says like the content for next week is ready. Then I check it. And then most of the time I'm happy. I do some, I don't know, 1 or 2 adjustment and then it's done.
Amazing. And do you also use when you do your recorded sessions, do you also use like the upload longer recordings to Scribe and then process them? Maybe you can,
That's a great idea. Haven't done it yet. Yes.
for
Oh, I'm gonna
example,
text that, Malte. Yeah, that's a great idea.
so yeah, everyone who has, for example, a podcast or like longer recordings or master classes ready, you can just upload those to Scribe and they will be turned into LinkedIn posts that fit your tone of voice. But if you have more questions on that, I can share more in a second. So let me just share the screen again.
The Fireside screen.
Perfect. All right, so we have a lot of questions. I just have to skim through very quickly. Also, if someone just wants to talk and raise their hand, feel free to ask your questions. That's maybe an even more personal way to ask Robert your pressing question.
Yeah.
First come, first serve. It's the chance now. No one? Then I can ask for you if you put it in the chat.
Yeah, I think maybe we take the question of
Can I ask a
Kevin.
question?
Sure.
Yes, there we go.
Hey, Robert,
Hey,
Robert,
Matt.
Carmen, nice to meet you. I'm holding my baby in my hand, so I can turn on the camera. But the question that I had is, how would you approach testing different niches or ICPs, I guess, if you will, on LinkedIn? If you want, if you have a service, like we specialize in email and SMS marketing, mainly work in e-commerce for the last couple of years, but we would like to enter the B2B space, and we're just not sure yet which niche we should go after. How would you do that?
Yeah. I think it's always a priority thing. I would always start with the first niche where you have like the highest hopes that it's working. And then I think the best thing that you really could do is optimize your LinkedIn profile to that niche, that they really understand what you're doing. And then I would start like sending out these requests for like adding them as contacts. And most of the time, if you really have a good like message after they accepted your invite, this is for me most of the time the sign if this specialization is working or not. So if you do it for, I don't know, 14 days or 30 days and you don't get any replies at all, it could mean, for example, I don't know, that your message is not really good. But most of the time, you get a feeling if the people are active on the platform or not. And at least that could be a sign. But I think you really have to commit yourself, yeah, I would say 45 days or something to one niche and should see if it's working or not, and then go to the next one. Because you always have the problem in the B2B space that you have so much like long sales cycles that most of the time, even when clients of us commit like 3 months to a niche, most of the time nothing really happens. But then after like 3 to 6 months, they get every week like appointments and book calls and stuff like that. And I see where you're standing, that's a little bit tricky, but I think I would go from the first reaction in, I don't know, 30, 45 days. If something is coming back to your messages, people are reacting to your content or not, and see from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. So I guess testing various messages, also connecting people, obviously starting
And
conversation
put
with
some
various
time
niches.
into, yeah, put some time into this first message, really.
Okay,
What helped is like split testing. We always had like 4 different messages and sent like always 4 different messages to 25 people, and so on. And after like, I don't know, each 25 people, you really saw where people like responded and where not. And then you can take it to all your new prospects or contacts.
got it. Hey, that's a good idea. Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay,
Have a good one.
Jessica.
You too.
Thanks.
Jessica, your question.
Yeah, finally found the hand to raise my hand. Robert, big fan of yours, following you for a long time now. But
Thank you.
still struggling to convert my posts into like meetings. So I'm really good at writing via social, selling people via chat. So hey, if this, for instance, mental health a topic for you, just let's have a chat. But also noticed that my personal posts, like my strugglings with depression, burnout, etc., are really converting good in terms of impressions and also videos and photos, but still struggling to like get business out of it. So coffee chats are really good, but now the next step for me is like struggling. Okay, how do I get into business?
How did you acquire before LinkedIn your clients or beside LinkedIn?
Classic outreach, cold calling.
Outreach? And do you have like the biggest pain points of your clients? So what's the motivation when they're like buying?
Yes, I do have them.
Yeah, already a lead magnet?
Nope.
Yeah, you can. I will show you a small hack that I really loved, and I didn't show it in this part of the presentation, but there is like a cool, I will grab your screen. Comment if it's okay. So Jessica, what you could do is really brainstorm like different ideas, and I always set the bar really high, like to come up with really like 20 good ideas for lead magnets and boil it down to the best 4. Yeah. And then there is a cool feature, I think the survey everybody knows, But for example, I'm trying to launch a new small digital product, like a low ticket product. And I wasn't sure about the name. And I'm always testing it. And this is something you can think about, like doing 4 different ideas. I think I even have it in a presentation for a lead magnet. Let me show it to you, because that was really eye-opening for you. And then I will show you 2 ways to convert these people.
You're not sharing yet.
No, I'm not. Let me show you here. No?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me show you where we built the lead magnet. There it is. So I came up with these 4 different ideas. I was talking about content, like the algorithm checklist. I was talking about like doing sales with like outreach, like what is it? Guide, then something for content and profile checklist. And I wanted to build this profile checklist because I was like, everybody's curious about their profile. And you see, no one doesn't give a shit about their profile. And then I really built, after this survey, I built the algorithm checklist. But what was really interesting, that I outreached the people that was checking on the survey, because you see everybody who did what. And then I saw the people that wanted to have the algorithm checklist. I knew they were struggling with reach, and I was just shooting them the message, and I was like, hey, you want to jump on a call and talk about how you get more reach with your content? And that worked really, really well. And the next part is, after that, you can all send them the document, really like, here is my new lead magnet. And then you really, I don't know, 1 or 2 days later, really came up with like the idea of, you want to talk about this topic. But the cool thing about this, Jessica, is that the people that have the pain right now show themselves by showing interest in the document. And this is something, I don't know, when I have like 5,000 followers or something on contact, I don't know who's right now working on their content and who's struggling with their reach. When I get out like a lead magnet talking about reach and people are saying, I want this document, I know they are struggling right now. And that makes especially also messages way easier, because you always can say, let's talk about your problem that you have right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And just popping up a strategy in my mind, since we have a lot of good white papers and guides I can share with people. So like, hey, if this is
But do the test of the title. Really, this is the point where people always mess up their lead magnets, that they have great content. But for example, here, the people just read like 2 or 3 words and decide on that if they want to have it or not. And this is something that I was like, they didn't even know what's in there. They're just hearing, I don't know, it's the algorithm checklist, and people went nuts. I don't know. I still get messages randomly most of the time, and people are like, where do I get this algorithm checklist? And I was like, crazy. And this is something with, when you find that for maybe your existing lead magnets, you will get way more people that have the problem right now, and you can convert them way easier into calls that lead in best case to working together.
Amazing. And because I'm looking at the time, and Tatiana, I know you've raised your hand. If you have a second, and Robert maybe has 2 more minutes, we can get to your question in a second. But everyone stayed until the end and gets that goodie and gets that algorithm checklist now. So we have 2 goodies for you. 1, you will get the algorithm checklist that Robert just mentioned for free. You can simply like scan that QR code or visit this link over here. You will then download the checklist. And for everyone who is not a Scribe paid user yet, you will also get a month for free by using the code Robert Scribe, so you can remember that one, and you will get a first month off. So you can try Scribe, how it works for you, and if you have any questions to Scribe or on how to use it, you can always reach out. And I will leave this page on so I can take a screenshot, and I will give it over. Robert, do you have 2 more minutes for
I have
for a last
I
question?
got nothing on
Tatiana,
my schedule. Yeah.
Floor is yours, please.
Hi together. Hi, Carmen, and hi, Rob. Thank you so much for your presentation. You kind of answered my question already. My question was, how do you know what kind of lead magnet your audience wants? And I see that you're doing it with surveys. However, for example, with my profile, I know that not a lot of people would actually take part in the survey. So do you have any other strategies on how to find out what your ideal customer, what kind of lead magnet they want?
I got a great story and an honest story, because I had a client of ours and he was doing like 3D printing or something. And it wasn't like, he was starting on LinkedIn out. And I was like, yeah, Yuri, you got to do this survey and we're going to find out what's your lead magnet. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to do the survey. And after, I don't know, a day, he had like 7 replies or something. And I was like checking in with him like a week later or something. And he was like, I was looking at the survey and he was like, it was like 55 or 75, something like this. Like people voted on his lead magnet. And I was like, Yuri, what the hell did you do? How did you find all these people? And he was like, I don't know. I had a lot of free time on my weekend and I messaged like everyone in my niche to ask them to vote on the survey. And that was really like the point where I was like, most of the people, like, if you invest this time in sending people like a message, a straight message to help me out at this point, they will help you. And the cool thing was really like most of the people like answered the survey. He had like a clear image on what lead magnet he should build. The cool thing was really that he had like a touch point in the message, in the messages with like 100 people. That was really not salesy. And like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, he came across with, here's your lead magnet, have fun with it. And he had another like good conversation. And that was really like the part where then he started, like after sending out the lead magnets, I don't know, a week later, he started following up with his people and made a lot of booked appointments with it. And I really like the sequence, because you start out with asking for help on a survey. People do it. If you do like a numbers game, if you really like send out 100 messages, there will be 25 or 50 people who gonna vote for you. And then you can come around with a lead magnet. People are happy. And if you do then a follow up, you will do a lot of booked meetings if you do it right. So the answer is, there is unfortunately no automated or lazy way. You just have to send some messages and then you're gonna get your replies.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right. So I unfortunately have to close this webinar. We had amazing questions, amazing talks, and I will make sure that you'll get, I can see some questions about the checklist. I will send the right checklist as well in the email, so we'll receive
Perfect.
everything. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your questions, for being scribers and leaders, mediars. I don't know if there is a term. Thank you so much. Yeah, for the great audience, for being a great audience, for staying here until the very end, and maybe we'll get a second version very soon and a follow-up webinar. But make sure to follow Robert on LinkedIn, of course, and he will share a lot of amazing insights there as well. Thank you so
for having me
much.
on.
Have a lovely rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.